So I've been home bartending for over 6 years now, and during that time, I've learned how to make over 150 different cocktail recipes. And one of the most common questions that I get from my guests when I'm making cocktails for them, or from other people learning that are trying to learn how to make great cocktails, is how do you memorize so many different types of cocktails? And for me, the best strategy is to actually group cocktails into really 6 core categories, and those are the categories that are laid out in this book, Cocktail Codex. And just to summarize, those categories are really going to be 6 broad categories. Cocktail Codex actually names them after core cocktails. So those 6 categories are going to be the old fashioned, the martini, the daiquiri, the sidecar, the whiskey highball, and the flip. 6 categories. The vast majority of cocktails in the classic cocktail, modern classic, contemporary, and tiki categories all fall somewhere within those 6 categories. Some of them are sort of on the border between 2 different categories. And arguably, of those 6 categories, the biggest category of cocktails, the one that is the most essential to learn as a home bartender, I think you should really learn all 6 categories. But the most important category is the daiquiri category, which is also known as the sour category. And that's really what we're going to be focusing on this video specifically, how to memorize recipes for sour cocktails. And I find that this is a great starting point because there's a lot of variation in the different recipes and templates that are used in the other 5 families. But for the sour family or the daiquiri family, the vast majority of cocktails that fall into this family all follow the same core template. A sour is any cocktail that contains 3 ingredients. Those ingredients are going to be a liquor, a citrus juice, and a sweetener. In the case of the daiquiri, which is the prototypical sour, the template sour, and there's a reason why the daiquiri is actually the very first video on my cocktail, on this channel, my cocktail channel. It's because I think the daiquiri is a great first cocktail to start with. It's in the sour category, it's a template cocktail in that category, and it really opens up the world to other sour categories. And as in the case of the daiquiri, those 3 components are going to be a liquor, which is going to be rum, a citrus juice, which is going to be lime juice, and then a syrup, which is going to be simple syrup. So for the liquor, all the different sour categories, they all follow that same template. For example, we can go to another cocktail like the whiskey sour. In that one, the liquor is going to be whiskey, the citrus juice is going to be lime juice, and then the sweetener is going to be simple syrup. We can take something like, a pisco sour. There, the core liquor, the core spirit is going to be pisco. The citrus juice can be either lime or lemon, or in the case, or the way that I prefer to do it, I actually like to use a split base of lime and lemon, and then the sweetener is going to be simple syrup. If we take something like a bee's knees, then the core spirit is going to be gin. This citrus juice is going to be lemon juice, and then the sweetener is going to be honey syrup. So, for your core spirit, you can use rum, vodka, gin, whiskey, cognac, brandy, pisco. There's so many different possibilities for that core spirit. Citrus juice, vast majority of the time is going to be either lime juice or lemon juice. And then for your sweetener, it can be things like agave syrup, simple syrup, honey syrup, passion fruit syrup, ginger syrup, raspberry syrup, so many different categories of syrups. And those are really the 3 components that are going to be in all of your different sour categories. You're going to have some type of liquor, some type of citrus juice, some type of sweetener. Just those 3 ingredients. Oftentimes, they're does all the ingredients there's going to be. In some cases, you may have like a dash or 2 of bitters, or you may use an egg white, as is the case with some version of the pisco sour or the whiskey sour. But for the majority of cases, it's just going to be those 3 ingredients. And in the majority of cases, even easier for you guys, they all follow the same template recipe, which is going to be 2 3/4 3/4. That's the mnemonic. Just memorize that: 2 3/4 3/4, 2 3/4 3/4, 2 3/4 3/4, and that's going to refer to the 3 ingredients. 2 ounces of your core spirit, 3/4 ounce of your citrus juice, 3/4 ounce of your sweetener. As is the case for the daiquiri, 2 ounces rum, 3/4 ounce lime juice, 3/4 ounce simple syrup. Bee's knees, 2 ounces gin, 3/4 ounce lemon juice, 3/4 ounce honey syrup. Whiskey sour, 2 ounces of whiskey, 3/4 ounce lemon juice, 3/4 ounce simple syrup. The majority of the sour cocktails, the majority of the cocktails in this family are going to follow that same recipe: 2 3/4 3/4. So when people come to my parties and they ask me how I know how to make so many different types of cocktails, how I memorize so many different recipes, this is the best way to do it. Group your cocktails into these 6 core families. And, as you really expand your knowledge, you're going to find that there's also subfamilies and things like that. So there's really going to be somewhere between like 10 and 20 different core recipes. And sours are a great place to start because just knowing that template, 2 3/4 3/4, you can know how to make so many different types of cocktails. You can know the daiquiri, whiskey sour, Gold Rush, Bee's Knees, gin gimlet, so many different types of cocktails out there, the pisco sour, the penicillin. These are all really just modifications of that. So even sour cocktails that came later on down the road, like the penicillin, which is one of my favorite sour cocktails, really just follows that same template too. It's just a slight modification on that. So, you start with the basics. You start with things like the whiskey sour, the gin gimlet, the bee's knees, the daiquiri. These are really the cores of the sours. And then you can expand your knowledge and learn other different types of sour cocktails. I know so many different types of sour cocktails. I told you at the beginning of this video, I know how to make over 150 different recipes. I would say at least 20, probably even more than 30 of those recipes are just pure sour cocktails. So this is a great place to start as a beginner. There are 6 core families, but I think of those 6 core families, you really should start with the daiquiri. Or the sour family. That's the most important family to learn. And just follow this template. That's how you will memorize how to make any type of sour cocktail, honestly. And, I'm going to be doing a full series showing you guys how to go through the other different categories. But in my opinion, this is really the easiest category to learn of those different examples. I think sours are a lot more straightforward. There's a little bit more complication with certain of the other categories. But with the daiquiri category or the sour category, great place to start. Core template. If you only have one takeaway from this video, it should just be that mnemonic 2 3/4 3/4, 2 3/4 3/4. Just keep saying that, keep writing that down, and also keep making cocktails with that recipe. Keep making daiquiris, gin gimlets, bee's knees, whiskey sours, gold rushes, pisco sours, all these different types of sour cocktails that all follow that same template. Just follow that template, and that'll serve you well. If you ever forget how to make a different type of sour cocktail, some of them have slightly different varied recipes, but for the most part, just follow that 2 3/4 3/4. If you ever get lost, you ever forget how to make a sour cocktail, that'll almost always serve you well. It may not be the perfect balanced cocktail for every specific example, but for the vast majority of cases, it's going to lead you to a great cocktail. If you ever, find yourself in a pinch, you don't know what the recipe is, this is a great place to start. This is a great way to really memorize the sour template, and it really opens up the world to tons and tons of different cocktails. As I said, at least probably 20 to 30 different cocktails in my repertoire are in the sour family. And the daiquiri is a great first place to start. Make a daiquiri and then make the other sour cocktails as well. So anyways, that's all the advice I have for this video. If you found the advice in this video helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I actually do 2 styles of videos on this channel. The first will be tutorial style video where I show you guys how to make a specific cocktail. And then the second style video will be talking head style like this one, answer questions about home bartending, share tips and tricks, share stories from my own journey, things like that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. Thank you. Cheers. And then finally, if you really want to take home bartending even more seriously, I actually have a paid community on school.com. That'll be the first link in the description below.